This week, I hit the 230-yard marker a few times up and back to the tee, but can I make it consistent? Welcome back to Chasing 230. This is week 10 of my chase for a 230-yard carry distance with my driver. As a reminder, I've chosen this goal for the off season here to put myself in scoring position with shorter irons more often than I did last year. So I want to have more 100 to 150-yard approach shots on par fours than I did last year. So that's really the intent here behind the 230-yard carry. As I've mentioned in previous videos, I don't intend to ignore other aspects of the game. I am working on some things like my wedges and stuff like that. However, the driver distance seemed to be most important to me to put myself in better position, like I said, for things like the short game, just to have a little bit easier approach shots. So we'll see how that translates onto the course here, hopefully just in a few weeks. There are some teasers here this weekend in Michigan. I think a couple of local courses opened up because there was nice weather, but we're probably a month or so at least away from regular openings and being able to get out on the course. So this last week, if you remember, I was at 214.3 pounds. My goal again is 195 pounds. So my swing speed, I'm just going to go ahead and cruise through these this week. My weight was 214.3 last week. My swing speed was 92 and a half miles per hour, and my ball speed was 131.7 miles per hour. That resulted in a carry distance of average of 204.8 yards, which is not where I want to be at. So we got some work to do according to that. I had a launch angle that seemed to be high according to Awesome Golf. So I was at like 17.2 degrees and a spin of like roughly 4,400 degrees. And all that resulted in a peak height of 110 feet, which just none of those things seem ideal for me for what I'm trying to do. I also showed a lot of pushes and push fades as the most common shot types. And I'm really curious to see how all this plays out. I have some confidence in Awesome Golf and the things that are doing, but it is all radar based. And I'll get at it here in a minute here. But back to the tee on their system, my shots were more to the left of center than the right of center. So I'm kind of curious how much of that has to do with my setup. I might have to make some adjustments there. I'm not sweating it a whole lot, but I do want to make sure I'm getting the ratings and the accuracy that I need. So might look at making some adjustments at home or seeing if I need to make some adjustments. But anyways, that was the result from week 9. We're in week 10, so a quick recap of my training this week. So the strength and mobility training, I got 3 full strength training days in this week, which felt really good. It was nice to see that. I did continue to focus. Last week I mentioned some 90-90 stretches and some mobility exercises, specifically from P4S, which stands for Par for Success. And I'm going to stick with those for a little bit because I can feel some movement and I'm able to feel like I can move like my shoulders and my hips and some of that stuff more after doing some of those. So I can kind of feel the progress. So I'm sticking with those for now as one of my adjustments in my routines. Yeah, and then so swing training. So I did get 3 driver sessions in this week. So Tuesday, I got a total of 61 driver swings in. Probably about 30 of those were full swings. I did a little bit of a warm up and stuff like that to get going, which I'll have a video here in just a second. I'm gonna tune out of here and take you out to the golf garage and bring you back. I'll try to make the transition a little bit smoother this week, but it'll still be a transition. So probably feels more awkward for me than it does for you, but it feels awkward for me as I'm recording this until I get used to them. So but my best carry on Tuesday was 210 yards with a 1-inch tee. I cut a tee down, and that was my average was 199.6 yards. Thursday, basically the same setup, 1-inch tee again. I cut one of my tees down, and my best carry was 210.9 yards, so a little bit longer, but my average was only 197.4. So if I'm being fully transparent here, Tuesday and Thursday, I was honestly a little discouraged about like am I gonna get there? Like, is my speed gonna go up? Is my distance gonna go up? I was a little bit frustrated and probably being a little bit more impatient than I needed to be. So there's that. Also, my average club speed from those days was both of them were right around 93 miles per hour. So Saturday, I ended up having an appointment, I guess, with Wade up at Back to the Tee. And when I walked in, I think his words were, I don't know, he might be able to correct me here, but I'm pretty sure it was something to the effect of, I'm going to make you work today, which, might sound a little intimidating, but I was like, that's what I'm here for. So I did a little warm up with my 8 iron, just took I don't know 15, 20 swings after a regular warm up session that I do, and then just kind of went at it with the driver. And by going at it, that was probably about 40 minutes of driver swings. But I did get 236, I think was the longest carry that I had in that session. And I hit that at least twice. And I had 4 or 5 shots that I can recall that were north of 230. Unfortunately, I did not grab a picture of that or get the data. There was somebody else waiting, and I think Wade and I both kind of got a little bit distracted. So that's okay. It's not the end of the world, but it would have been cool to have that data because it looked good. That was the best session that I've had so far. I was having swing speeds of 95 to 105 miles per hour, and just really kind of getting after it. So it was a good session up there. Really kind of helped make the week feel a little bit better. And who knows, maybe Wade actually does know what he's talking about. You'll have to let him know I said that if you're in my area and know Wade. Um, but anyways, so that was kind of a quick recap of the sessions here this week. I'm going to go ahead and take you out to the golf garage here. You're going to kind of feel a little, and I'm going to just show you a little bit more about how I set up. Where my, I don't have the Garmin in this video necessarily, but where I set up the Garmin, how I set up my alignment sticks, just a little bit about what's going on there to try to help me get the most on my practice sessions. And if that's helpful for you, certainly let me know. So with that in mind, I'm going to go ahead and cut this off, and then I'll be right back.
Okay, so now you can see I've got my whole hitting mat. This is my 4x6 platform with my beaver tail hitting strip from True Birdie in there. I've really been enjoying that so far. It's really helps me a lot with irons and off the tee and everything. But that's just kind of the setup there. One of my cheap little Amazon tees. I'm going to find a replacement for these soon. These are, I've worn 3 or 4 of these out already, so I want to find something that's going to last a little bit longer. Garmin's not on here yet. It will be, but it is lined up right along. See, my best way to do this here is I'm going to turn you a little bit. So it's lined up straight. I don't know if you can see that here. Lined up straight down the middle of that strip is the intention. Then that alignment stick there needs a little adjustment at the moment, but that will be lined up for me to go straight. So I have the vertical, the one back here is set up because I need to have my Garmin pointed correctly. Otherwise, it's not going to read. It'll tell me I'm going right or left when I might not be. So that's just to make sure I'm aligned with the Garmin R10. And this one will be for making sure I'm on with my strikes. It's actually not horrible. I try to use this so I can at least get some level of some sort of a reference point for what my balls are doing in flight. And I can usually see it because once it hits the ball and then the ball hits the net, I can usually tell if it's a little bit left or a little bit right. And it tells me a little bit about how straight my shot is there. I'm going to come over here and grab a couple of my other alignment sticks. And what I do here with these guys is I lay one down in alignment for where I'm going to put my ball for my swing. So my driver swing, my ball is going to be a little bit above my blue tape there because my ball's forward in my stance. So I have this one set up, goes across here, and I try to keep that right about in line with my foot. And then I adjust this a little bit. Sorry for the camera work here. I'll adjust that a little bit for if I'm trying to move ball positions on when I'm hitting my driver. Like oftentimes I'm making adjustments because I'm making poor swings and I don't know exactly what it is. So sometimes I adjust that alignment stick to see if moving the ball forward or backwards will help. The other alignment stick, I'm going to lay down right here. And the idea with this one is it's pretty parallel with my hitting strip there. Pretty parallel with that stick up there. And that just keeps me all lined up. So when I'm hitting, I'm aligned as I can be with my current setup. And now I'm going to do some chipping with my driver, probably left-handed, then right-handed. And then also just do some, both hands with some chipping. And then start working my way up to some full driver swings. I'll see how many of those I get in. I'm kind of short on time, which happens a lot in the mornings, but try to get as much in here as I can. But thought I'd show you the setup. I'll record a few of my swings here so you can see what that's like as well. But anyways, that's the setup with alignment sticks and the hitting net. If this helps, let me know in the comments below, and I sure do appreciate it. Thanks.
Okay, well, I hope you enjoyed the quick review of how I set up for practice sessions. That's what I'm doing every time I go out there. Sometimes I leave it set up if it's just me, but if I have, like I had my nephew come over one night this week, I think it was Tuesday night, so after one of my practices, I took things down until we could just golf, and then I just put it back down. Obviously, it's easy enough to set it up, but I like try to keep the line up for my ball and my launch monitor, but then also for where I'm sitting and how I get into approach the shot. So I'm trying to set up a good routine that I stick with. So real quick, some wins from this week. Well, I hit 230 yards plus at least 4 times on Saturday. So that was just, I mean, there's not much of a better win I can get for what I'm doing here. So being able to see that and see that the result and just being able to kind of sense what that's like to get that, that's good. That's what I want, what I'm here for. So hopefully this week I can repeat that out in my garage. We'll see how that goes. I did get 3 driver sessions in. Like I said earlier, Tuesday and Thursday were a little bit discouraging. Saturday was a little bit more encouraging, and really grateful for what Wade's doing there to kind of push me outside my comfort zone and really ramp up the speed. So I think that was a big help. So some challenges this week. Honestly, not a lot with time because I'm between basketball and soccer. Not this coming week, but the following week I'll be starting soccer. I coach my daughter's soccer team, so that'll create some more time challenges. But that's going to be all right because I enjoy coaching that team. So, but this week really was just my attitude and probably expecting results sooner than I should. That really kind of got in the way of anything. And it wasn't the end of the world, but definitely Tuesday and Thursday I was frustrated. Just frustrated. So let's get to the results. Where am I at right now? So my weight is at 213.9 pounds, which is down about a half a pound from last week. But I'm still above my goal. So I had a couple of relapses, I guess. I don't know what you want to call it, but on Friday somebody had brought some cake into work and I ate some cake because you can't have your cake and eat it too. And I decided to eat it. I don't know. But also, it was me and my daughters on Friday night just kind of hanging out and they wanted pizza. So I had pizza. And I'm learning that really I can't eat those things if I want to continue on the weight loss side of things. I can have them once in a while, but it sticks more than I'd like it to stick. So there's that. Anyways, that was the weight. Swing speed was at, I'm putting an asterisk next to all club and distance data this week because the session on Saturday, I don't have the data. And that was my best session. So I didn't punish myself this week, and I also didn't really reward myself because I don't have the data. So that's just the way it is. Swing speed, I'm just putting at 93 and a half. That's up about a mile per hour from last week and 3 miles per hour above my goal. But honestly, on Saturday, I was 95 to 100 most swings. I was watching that. I just don't have the data. So I know I was north of 95 on the majority of my swings. Ball speed didn't look much. I just didn't look much on Saturday. And I know I was still, based on the results from Tuesday and Thursday, I know I had been around 130, maybe a little bit less, just because of the distance I had. I just kind of am learning that math a little bit in my head. My carry distance I put at 205 yards with an asterisk again. Everything has an asterisk this week on the club data and the distance data. Because on Saturday, I know I was, I wish I would have got a picture. The dispersion was there's a center line. If you've ever gone on to like Foresight or some of those launch monitors, there's the center line, and you can see your dispersion. And the dispersion with most of my balls was between 200 yards and 250 yards, just a bit left to center, about a 40-yard maybe dispersion left to right. But I was between 200 and 250 for the majority of the shots. So it really was a good session on Saturday. I don't have anything for the launch angle, spin, peak height, or anything like that. I just don't have it on here. Like I said, the dispersion on Saturday was a little bit left, so that tells me it's maybe somewhat of a pull, maybe some sort of a draw in there. I mean, I'm not trying to pretend I know what that was. So, but I know where the ball was at, and I know it was definitely some hits that I can work with. So that was not much more I can ask for on that one. So some adjustments this week, some things that I'm going to do differently. Really, honestly, one of the biggest takeaways from Saturday was you just got to swing faster, buddy. You just got to swing. So I'm going to go ahead and swing. And one of the things that kind of helped me out, Wade told me to step back away from the ball a little bit and just take a couple of practice swings, so I could kind of hear the whoosh sound, hear the whoosh of that club, and it's like that's what you're going for. And once I heard that whoosh, and I've heard it before, I've done it. I do it even with my driveway markers. They're kind of like my alignment sticks, but they're really driveway markers. And I go out there and I create the whip effect with them. But sometimes when I'm hitting, I don't do that. So it was honestly a really good reminder of just, hey, find that sound, find that feel. And then the other one was standing tall on my lead foot at finish. So you might have noticed in my video there, even though I wasn't doing full swings, I was doing those little swings. I really wasn't coming up and up on my front foot is like I should. So I need to really work on that a little bit. I think those are a couple adjustments this week. And I'm really hoping to report next week that I had more 230-yard plus drives. I mean, that's what I'm going for. Really, if I'm somewhere between 220 and 240, I'm going to be pretty happy. I know they're not all going to be there, but if I'm there more often than I'm not, I feel like I'll have achieved this goal as I prepare for the 2026 golf season. So that's it. I think that's the update for this week. And, I'm really excited about where I'm at because I hit 230 at least 4 times, 230 plus on Saturday. And so that's encouraging. If you do have feedback, if you have thoughts, if there's things that you're working on, whether it's on your driver or wedges or irons or putter, whatever it is, if you got something you're working on, I'd love to hear it. So just go ahead and feel free to leave a comment below. As always, likes and shares and all those things help me out. I'm just getting started in this journey, and I'm intending to keep going further. And I don't know if it'll be before soccer season or after soccer season. I do have some things that I'm working on to give this channel and some of the things I'm doing an identity. And I'm super excited about those things, but I want to make sure I time it right and I don't get myself in a point where I can't take the time to do what I need to do. So soccer season might affect that a little bit, but that'll be over end of May. And so by the end of May, for sure, I'll have some stuff out there, if I'm being patient. And if I'm not being patient, or if I feel like the timing's right, you'll see a video coming out that will really kind of get at what I'm trying to do overall, with this channel and just some aspirations I have. So if you would, like I said, like, comment, share this video. And remember, progress isn't perfect. It's consistent. And I'll see you next week for another update for the chase for 230-yard carry distance with my driver. Thanks. Have a great week.